Oi, mate, 40 here. Just thinking, this is a good question, a good topic to explore. That is like, what does your soul yearn for? Like, what is the light burning in your soul? Okay, what's it burning for? What torch are you holding? Or what zip lighter are you holding? Like, what does your soul yearn for? And why are you trying to distract yourself from what your soul yearns for? So, my mother died when I was 3. So, I'm pretty sure a large part of my soul has yearned for mummy. Has tried to fill that mummy hole with all sorts of different women. I think this is an important topic. Like, what does your soul yearn for? And what are the primary defense mechanisms that you deal with to avoid confronting what your soul yearns for? So, is it an obsession with politics, an obsession with sports, an obsession with pornography, an obsession with work, an obsession with religion? Like, what do you use to distract yourself from what your soul yearns for? What is it that you are afraid to face? Is it that you didn't have a mother? You didn't have a father who knew how to father you? Was it that you had a father who ignored you, or a father who gave you the wrong kind of attention, or gave you too much attention? What is it that your soul yearns for? Is it a mother? Is it someone who will nurture you? Is it your soul yearning for someone to find you sexually attractive? Someone to find you beautiful? Someone to respect you? Like, does your soul yearn for an invitation to Gavin's second grade birthday party? Does your soul yearn to be popular? Does your soul yearn to show people who shunned you in high school or middle school how highly accomplished you are? Do you not want to go home to Australia or to Ohio or to Lisbon because you don't feel successful enough? You don't feel like you can show them how much you've accomplished? Just sensing that we prefer to distract ourselves rather than delve into what our soul yearns for. Like, does your soul yearn for God, to a close relationship with God? Does your soul yearn for respect? As I grow older, I want to groom my personal talents and to provide happiness to people around me. Okay, but what are your talents? Do you yearn to be a good singer? Do you yearn to be a good writer? Do you yearn to be a good painter? Do you yearn to be a good hostess? Do you yearn to be a deacon at your church? Do you yearn to mentor younger people? Do you yearn to be a teacher? Do you yearn to have the respect of those around you? Do you yearn to feel like you are contributing to your community, to the children in your community, to the homeless in your community? Do you yearn to be Mother Teresa? Do you yearn to have political influence? Do you yearn to have cultural influence? Do you yearn to write a novel? Like, what is it? Like, deep inside, you probably don't want to be a data entry clerk. You probably don't want to be an insurance company sales representative or claims representative. Like, you probably don't want to be the cashier at the gas station. So, in your soul, what is it you yearn for? To sing with the group Journey? Do you yearn to play catch with Tom Brady? I mean, what is it that your soul really wants? Right, you probably don't yearn to be a secretary. You probably don't yearn to write boring computer code. Instead, you yearn to create some software that will save some problem. I just, as I'm reading John Sarno, and I'm just thinking about how much of our physical pain may well be an attempt by our brain to distract ourselves from painful unconscious thoughts that we want to keep unconscious, and when they threaten to become conscious, we get distracted by our pain. So I just think it's an important topic. Like, what is it that we feel like we're put on earth to do? Is it to be a religious leader, an evangelist, an innovator in first person to combine microeconomics with macroeconomics, to learn a foreign language and go live in Israel or Nigeria or Russia or China or Japan? Do we yearn to be part of a community? Like, I can't imagine wanting to live life outside that of a community. Fairly close knit, but not so close knit that your freedom of expression gets completely squelched. I don't understand why anyone would want to live outside of a close knit community. So, if you don't have the experience of living in a close knit community where you're running into the same people all the time, then why would you not want that? Why would you not want to feel part of something bigger and greater than yourself? So it just makes sense to me that any normal person would yearn to be part of a community. Maybe you yearn to be able to live in community. Living in community is not always normal, natural, and easy for people. People tend to be like porcupines, trying to huddle together for warmth, uncomfortable when too closely packed, and freezing cold when too far apart. So we yearn for each other, but then when we try to get close to people, we poke them with our porcupines, or they poke us. So how do you distract yourself? Is it with food, with YouTube, with Netflix, with Amazon Prime, with books, with religion, with sports, with alcohol, with gambling, with drugs, with sex, with porn? To just keep frantically busy? To avoid confronting what is it that your soul really wants? Okay, you want to be a guitarist and a singer, a swing dancer, a writer, learn a variety of subjects. I want to inspire my local community with positive energy and hope. And I want to be a white pillar. Okay, that's great. So you want to use the skills that God gave you to be a blessing to people around you. Yeah, that rings true. That rings true. So I assume that you already have talents with the guitar. You already have talents with song. And it sounds like you want to explore and develop yourself as a dancer and as a writer. You want to become more erudite, and you want to be an inspiration to people around you. So you want to be loved. That's what your soul wants. You want to be loved, you want to be respected, and you want to like yourself. And you want to respect yourself, and you want to feel like you're contributing to something greater than yourself while being part of something. So I know for most of my life, I've wanted people to go, oh, look, there's the great man. That's been a stronger yearning for me than feeling a part, right? Because the desire to be a part of something and the desire to stand out are two contradictory impulses. It's not easy to be a part of something and to stand out, right? Because people who are connected with other people don't usually like people who try to stand apart. So maybe you want to be an integral part of your community and contribute to it without showing off, without unnecessary attention seeking. Maybe you want to contribute in a way that works for you and for others, that doesn't put other people's noses out of joint, that doesn't ruffle feathers. So some people, they want to be a guitarist and a singer, so that they can reduce their interactions with other people, so they can just throw themselves entirely into their art. They want to escape painful relationships with, like, the girls who rejected me, or the teacher who thought that I wasn't any good. And then writing is usually very lonely work. So generally speaking, writers probably spend more time alone than almost any other profession. So it's very isolating work. And when you're part of a community, it tends to dramatically narrow the topics that you can write about and the approaches that you can use to these topics. Because if you then get out of touch and out of step with your community, people will hurt you. So I want to be a white pillar. I want to inspire people and help people to feel good. And why do you want to inspire people, and why do you want to make people feel good? So that they will then feel good about you. What's really going on? Is this about shoring up your own sense of self? Or is this coming out of, I'm happy, I want other people to be happy? Because if you're not happy, but you want to help other people to be happy, I don't think that's going to work. But if you're happy, then you naturally want to help other people. But those who want leadership and influence and power to work out their own psychodramas, it's like, oh, if I get more attention, then I'll be able to get more insight into myself. I'll be able to overcome my feeling of being unworthy. And so I want to be president of the United States, or I want to be president of my club, or I want to be a successful entrepreneur to work through my own psychological issues. That's an approach that normally doesn't work, right? I want to be the greatest singer-songwriter in a particular genre of all time, because if I do that, then I'll be able to find the love and acceptance and help and respect that I need. Okay, that approach doesn't normally work for people. Other people pick up on that. I remember when I first came to Los Angeles in the spring of 1994, and I was going to all these Jewish lectures, this one Jewish woman said, at every lecture I go to, you're raising your hand and you're asking some question to try to get attention for yourself. So I thought I was going to these Jewish lectures to develop myself on my Jewish journey, to learn more about Torah. And I probably thought to myself, that these were genuine questions coming from my soul. But really what I was doing was showing off. I was just trying to show people how smart I was. And people don't like people who try to show how smart they are. So what was my soul wanting? My soul was wanting to feel respected. My soul was wanting to outdo my father's accomplishments. My soul was wanting to, blaze my own trail so other people would go, oh, look, there's 40. He's so smart. He's got so many sharp insights. I probably wanted to show that I was smarter and wiser than the speaker. And I probably wanted to impress people and raise myself in social status. And just like people who are good at playing basketball love to play basketball. And people who love to play basketball often like to show off their moves. And many people who like to play basketball, they're more interested in showing off their moves and going one-on-one than they're interested in being part of a cohesive team that works together and wins games. And so I was, maybe still am, very much like the basketball player wants to show you his fancy moves, wants to play one-on-one, wants to sink the 30-foot shot one time down the court and the next time take it to the rim and dunk it in your face. Okay, people don't like people like that. So when you're good at basketball, you want to play a lot of basketball and you want to show people how good you are. So then maybe it's not really so much that you love basketball, but basketball is the way that you can most distinguish yourself from others. So just like some people love to play basketball and show off how good they are at basketball, I like to show off how erudite I was and how smart I was and how sharp the questions I could ask and try to show off the teachers. So I had a lot of teachers told me I was the most challenging student I ever had because I was always trying to advance myself at their expense and ask them sharp questions and try to punch holes in their own arguments and the things they were saying. When my natural tendency when I hear something, when I hear an argument or a thesis, my natural tendency is always to think, what's wrong with this? Where's the hole in this line of thinking? But what my soul yearned for was to be a part, to feel a part of something. But I was going at it. I was disabled by my own feeling of necessity of feeling that I need to show off to people that I'm smarter than they are. So what my soul really wanted was to feel a part of the Jewish community. But I was disabled by my desire to show myself greater than, smarter than, wiser than, funnier than, deeper than other people. So this desire to appear sharper, smarter, faster, funnier, better than everyone else, that always results in you getting ostracized. Nobody likes to be around people like that. They may find you entertaining in small doses. They might even occasionally watch you on YouTube, or they might even look at your blog, but they fundamentally don't like you. They fundamentally don't feel at ease with you because that kind of showing off thing, almost nobody likes that, except when you may be useful to them at times, and then you're the easiest guy in the world to manipulate. But what my soul really wanted was not to set myself apart. And if I was sane, I would be able to recognize that many of the times when I was in these synagogues, not only was I not in the top 1%, I was not even the top 10% or 20% or 50% of Torah knowledge or wisdom or sagacity. Like I was very mediocre, and yet I was attention seeking. Because on the superficial level, I felt I need attention. What I really needed was connection. So if your soul is distorted, if your soul is wrecked, very likely to be attention seeking. But underneath that attention seeking, what you really want is connection. And you don't connect with people by trying to establish that you're better than them. So I know for me, often what I've wanted most is the adoration of pretty young women. And so I've kind of spent much of my adult life shaping my life, pursuing those things that were most likely to get me the adoration of pretty young women and get them into bed. And that would kind of fill the hole in my soul. It would kind of temporarily make all my problems go away, and it would make me feel good about myself. It's like, wow, if that woman will get naked for me and she'll get into bed with me, that means that I'm a good guy and that I'm powerful, that I have special talents. How do you connect then past garnering attention? So I think you connect by being honest. That doesn't mean you say everything, and it doesn't mean you're honest about everything, and doesn't mean you share everything. But connection, I think, comes usually fairly slowly, and it means recognizing the humanity in other people beyond just using them to get attention for you or sexual pleasure for you or money for you. So connection rather than attention seeking. It means making space for the other person and reacting to their cues and not just using them as something to fill you up. So if you are genuinely wanting to connect rather than just to seduce or just to get attention, then you watch how you flirt with, say, the opposite sex when you have absolutely no interest in anything with them. You don't toy with people's affections. You recognize that what you really want is connection rather than attention. And then you connect over common interests. You connect over, say, a similar sense of humor. You connect over shared allegiances, whether it's to the Dallas Cowboys or to a particular form of dancing or to a religion. Like if you have activities in common, ideologies in common, interests in common, commitments in common, then you have things greater than yourself that you can connect with. So when you're attention seeking, you're seeking other people to tell you who you are. But when you're okay with yourself, then you meet someone and you like them, then you interact with them and you keep going with it unless you find out that they're a jerk, that they treat you badly. How many of the females were able of connection? Well, of course, I was coming from a very damaged place, and pretty much all the women that I went to bed with were equally damaged. They were just damaged in different ways. So pretty much all the women I went to bed with had daddy issues. I had mummy issues. They had fathers who were sex addicts. I was a sex addict. They would try to heal the trauma of having a father who was a sex addict by getting intimate with someone who was a sex addict, and they were hoping to heal the trauma of having a father who was a sex addict by getting me into bed and then curing me, then fixing me, then transforming me to heal the pain of having a father who was a sex addict. Yeah, damaged people attract damaged people. And I was trying to heal the damage of not having a mother. And so I was trying to grab female attention, and I intuitively found out, well, if you get a woman into bed, then she's key, and you've opened the door to her soul. And so if things are proceeding normally, you have the key to her soul for a few weeks, a few months. And so I would try to fill up the emptiness in me with her. And then if I really liked her, I would put more and more weight on the relationship. And then the more weight I put on the relationship, the less attractive she found me, because I was selling out who I really was, because I so wanted her affirmation, be it sexual or emotional. So when you meet someone who fills that hole in your soul, then you immediately have this overwhelming incentive to sell yourself out so that you can keep getting that reinforcement. Look, wherever I go in the world, I attracted damaged people. It has nothing to do with Southern California, Northern California, Outback Australia, Capital City Australia, Israel, London. Damaged people attract damaged people. Like the people that you go to bed with, the people you date, they're at your level of maturity. Like it wasn't that these were, pristine, sturdy, wonderful souls. And I, dirty lech Luke was coming along and contaminating, otherwise, pristine, innocent young women. It was me, deeply damaged Luke, connecting with deeply damaged Sarah. So I would go to a room, there'd be 100 women in the room, but my radar would go ping, ping, ping on the woman who'd be equally damaged to me, who I wouldn't have to put a lot of effort into getting into bed, and her radar would go ping, ping, ping. This is a guy who is bringing up for me, these really intense feelings. I'm getting a certain vibration from him. This is something that I need to explore. This is someone who makes me feel something. And so then I'd get into a relationship, and then it would temporarily fill the hole in my soul. Okay, and then like my yearning for nurture and for succor would get filled. And then I'd still have to confront myself. So what was it that my soul wanted beyond female attention and adoration? So here's your assignment. Journal about what is it that your soul most wants. Journal about what are the primary ways you distract yourself from confronting and pursuing what your soul most wants. Journal about if you have unconscious rage, what could it possibly be about? Then journal about where do you feel under pressure? You feel under pressure from your mother, from your boss, from your friends, from this guy or girl you want to impress, from friends from childhood, from your credit card companies. So get in touch. Like, you should be able to effortlessly list off 30 things where you feel under pressure. You should be able to effortlessly list off 30 things where you may well have unconscious rage. You should be able to list off what your soul desires, and you should be able to list off at least half a dozen things that you do to distract yourself from the painful reality of pursuing what your soul desires. And one of them may be religion. So we're not talking about conscious rage here. Conscious rage is not hurting you. Conscious rage is probably not getting in the way of confronting what your soul wants. We're talking here about your unconscious rage, uncovering that. If you have unconscious rage, what is it? What could it possibly be? You could probably come up with 20 different things you might not even be conscious of being upset about. Okay. Email me, lucasback@gmail.com. We'll carry on this conversation. Good night.